Hello. Today I'm going to talk about my Spider-Man comic book collection. And the first thing I should say about being an adult and admiring comic books is being aware of the fact that comic books are still regarded as childish by many adults, just as in the 1950s all science fiction was as well. And I remember I talked about this at length with my father about the problem that fiction has being taken seriously by professional adults with adult responsibilities. So, first of all, comic books are drawn by adults, and although they're collected and read by children as well as adults, it's actually very difficult, from my experience when I was a child, to draw at this level, to illustrate at this level. And there are reasons that entire companies pay adults to work on different phases of comic books. So, that being said, some other reasons why comic books are still interesting to me is that the artwork is very appealing. It's graphically exciting. So I want to talk about the artwork as well as the dates of the comic books. So this one is, let's see, some of the earliest ones I have are from the 70s. The Amazing Spider-Man, 1978. And Spider Woman, which I'll read and talk about the storyline. And then, let's see, so from 78 to 1980. And there is some evolution of the artwork, but actually Spider-Man has remained very similar along the timeline here. This is 1984, where he got his black alien symbiote or parasitic costume, and then it became Venom. So this is 1990, and I have some later ones as well, which I will look at. So I'll look at some of the earliest ones, and then some of the later ones. So, well, for my collection. So late 70s and into the 90s. And actually, it's worth noting that now Spider-Man has gone back to actually being younger than he maybe ever was. And so in one of the recent films, his body is actually that of a teenager, a young, short teenager. And so, although with Venom, you can see muscles got much more massive with characters like the Incredible Hulk and Venom. Just, enormous Mr. Universe style muscles on many of the characters. Spider-Man remained very similar with a light build, although certainly athletic, muscular. He has remained, his style of being drawn, however you want to describe it, is very similar from the late 70s to the early 90s, and even today. So let's see. Now here you can see one of his arch nemesis, Kraven. They're in a dinosaur museum. And this is actually, I don't know if it's a reprint, but the style of drawing is very similar to the old ones, even though this was printed in 1990. So I don't know if it's just somebody imitating the Kirby style or whatever you want to call it. Oh, here's Tigra and Kraven. And this is another beast-like man attacking Spider-Man. with the dark Venom suit, and versus the Sinister Syndicate. So let's take a look at Spider Woman. I love this 1970s style. Look at how beautiful the even though the pages have a very pulpy, it's almost sepia tone to them, they still are beautiful to me, even though you can, it's not as slick looking as the new ones. The detail can be very immaculate on these old ones. Look at the penmanship here. So these evil dolls, these evil acrobat dolls, are found in a drawer at this woman's house. Look at that profile, just one simple color, but the detail is so beautiful on that face. Even the ads are worth looking at. Get yourself a BB gun and, build muscle, or get the little fish people. Okay, so here come the dolls. I guess they are called the Brothers Grimm, and they enlarge in size and have all kinds of magical powers. They make throwing beans. Seems so scary. One of my favorites, who I'll be covering as well, the Incredible Hulk, Daredevil, and Captain Marvel, who's made a comeback recently in film. So the framing is interesting. There's a big, long, linear shot there. Beautiful. I love how comic book illustrators they tend to color the outside near the borders, near the edges of the outline of the figure, a lighter color to highlight where the light hits. And then sometimes the color of the suit will not even be the actual color, it will just be black. So the light highlights often show the color of the person's suit. Not always. There we go. But like there you can see her hair is black but has blue highlights, and so is her hair color black or blue, or I guess I would say both, because if it's regular lighting and you're seeing it, then those colors are part of it. And although black is certainly questionable whether that's, are they just in shadow, or is the color black? Because light and color theory are different. There are differences in how pigments combine versus how light combines and what happens. So in other words, when you mix all the colors with pigments, you get brown, and when you mix all the lights, all the colors of light together, you get white. So almost an opposite. reaction. And again, a beautiful horizontal with Spider Woman chasing a Brother Grimm getting away on a floating flying star. Here's a 3-part, what do we want to call this? Half page with 3 vertical subdivisions, or columns, as we called it in layout, school yearbook layout class. Here is some awesome heroes. Hulk, Thor, The Thing, Captain America, Fantastic Four, and that Howard the Duck guy, I guess. So I'll just flip through to the end. Oh, here's an awesome one of Spider Woman zapping a Brother Grimm, and look at how he just, almost like a Jedi, vanishes from his suit or something. Action, drama, thrills, master of kung fu. Sorry for the advertisement. Okay. That's a great one. Oh, the toys are coming to life. I should show them. Yeah. Make sure that if you have toys at home, that they are good toys, because if they come to life at night, they're either going to be protecting you or smothering you with your pillow. So be careful. Let's see. This is a Twinkies commercial. Oh, this one's great. All right. Yeah, this is Granny with her supervillains. And Granny has never felt so powerful as having her muscular magical twins do her bidding. And it's probably scary for people, especially being tied up as Spider Woman is here. And here we go, the power of Spider Woman. Her hands and feet, like the limbs of a spider, are able to cling to walls, ceilings, almost any surface. And I like that she's not wafer thin, as women became in comic books, very cartoonish, like Barbie, towards the 90s, I believe, and are still drawn that way. I like a more realistic depiction of a woman with actual, body fat, which, women don't like to feel fat, but it's called being normal. It's called having a normal type body, basically. Average weight. Although muscular. So one cool thing about Spider Woman is she's got those wings. So she wears a costume designed by, let's see, technicians of Hydra. Wow, Hydra. The evil corporation that's often in Captain America, and I've been seeing in the show called, S.H.I.E.L.D., who fights Hydra. Hydra is like a sort of a Nazi spy agency, like S.H.I.E.L.D. is sort of like CIA. She is able to imitate flight by using her glider webs to ride air currents. All right. Oh, great. Here's a commercial advertisement for Kiss, which definitely affected the way I looked at adults, realizing that, wow, these are not women wearing the clown makeup with long hair. These are men. And who doesn't love toy soldiers? Okay, so now we've looked at a comic from the 70s. Here's one from 91 with, I think this is McFarlane. Yes, McFarlane. You can see his signature. Okay, that's not coming into focus. Come on. Anyway, McFarlane went on to draw Spawn. And what is it called? Image. So there's other, besides DC and Marvel, there's also Image and Dark Horse and other publishers. So look how simple that silhouette is, but beautiful and striking. Now, wow, look at that. 2-page spread. The Wendigo. I first saw the Wendigo in the 80s comic books with I think the Incredible Hulk was fighting him, and there's some awesome, what do you call it? Not just team-ups, but battle royales of Wendigo and the Incredible Hulk, Wolverine. I think that was where Wolverine was first introduced. And so in this series, as you saw in the last scene, Wolverine is teaming up with Spider-Man to fight the Wendigo. And when I first saw the Wendigo, and I think when Wolverine was first introduced, it was with the Wendigo. He was operating as a secret agent and for somebody. And then there was a Canadian superhero called Sasquatch, basically like the Bigfoot, and the Incredible Hulk, I think, with the Wendigo. And that series is awesome. I'll have to show that when I do the Hulk. But let's see if I can get some detail here. But yeah, McFarlane can be very terrifying. That's why Spawn was a demon. He sort of took on the darkness of Batman, but his cape was alive with evil. And so we call it the anti-heroes, like, well, Batman, the Punisher, Lobo, main characters who are basically villains, but because we tell so much of their backstory, we know so much of who they are as people and why they do what they do, why they kill people and do terrible, terrible, horrible things. The reader sympathizes with them and identifies with them as many people do with villains, and why it's so fun to play a villain is you get to sort of live out those things you're not supposed to do in real life. Through acting or through storytelling and artwork and imagination. And so, just like Celtic mythology is similar to real life in that there's not really good and evil gods and goddesses. They really pretty much are all just like humans, like the Greek pantheon, the Roman pantheon. We always like to make fun of how stupid they all act, like a soap opera. And well, guess what? That's just Jerry Springer. That's why people love Jerry Springer, and why Jerry Springer is modern mythology, basically using, mortals instead of immortals to tell stupid, stories we like to make fun of, and how emotional people get. In the name of love, they do things that are hateful. So look how evil the Wendigo is. So the Wendigo is the embodiment, and he's supposed to be Native American, a Native American spirit, basically, a demon, that, I'm going to screw up the story, but I think it's a witch's curse on cannibals. So if you do evil things in North America, like kill and eat other humans, you can become the Wendigo. And so you will haunt the woods, the forests of North America. And then you'll probably end up having to fight Sasquatch, or the Incredible Hulk, or Spider-Man. Look at how terrified this man is. I mean, this guy is probably, I'm going to say, shitting his pants. Or if there's kids listening, your parents would prefer you to say crapping your pants. Oh, look, here's an advertisement for something. But there's Hobgoblin. Not the Green Goblin. I think that's Hobgoblin. And look at that profile of Spider-Man. I'm not gay, but I'm going to say that's sexy. Okay, here we go. I mean, I'm gay enough to understand the beauty of the male form as well as the female form. Let's put it that way. Okay, so look at Wolverine here. God, he's such a fucking beast. Oops. Yeah, I'll have to put a profanity warning. But, well, I mean, if you're a child who's going to have post-traumatic stress disorder because you heard me raise my voice or use cuss words, you shouldn't be looking at these comic books. So, I guess there should be... these are violent. There's no doubt about it. Oh my God. Look at those muscles. All right. Look at that face hidden in shadow with the highlights on that man's face. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. And look at how that profile of Wolverine sticks out over that other frame. I call that postmodern, but it's an overlap. And I think it's a wonderful... It's been used for years and years, but when it's done, it's so dramatic. And it breaks that third frame or whatever, where, basically you're speaking to the audience going, look, I know this is a comic book. I know that this is a drawing, or, that this is a depiction, but it's trying to break the walls of perception. And I think it does it beautifully. Look at that lunge. So basically comic books are much like classical art in that it actually shows nudity, but it clothes them so that parents don't feel as bad showing it to children. Instead of showing the wee-wees and the titties, the nipples, comic books tend to use clothing, although some nudity, but they still will reveal the form of the muscles. And yes, they're often over-muscled, but classical art is like that as well. A lot of the sculptures of Zeus, or even David has muscles, and maybe more than an average person, maybe less, but no, usually more. And look, he's in his boxers. Wow. Okay, on to the next one. So, but my point being that people love looking at other humans, especially faces, but also their bodies. And although the bodies can be idealized and stereotyped and, unrealistic in some cases, it's interesting to look at how bodies look. And there is actually a wide variety in comic books. And it sort of, I don't know, for me it says it's okay. Like, it's okay to have, a naked body under our clothing. I know, it's horrible to talk about. It's so, for a lot of people, nudity is still sort of like, that's unnatural. That's, for them, the natural condition is the artificial world where we have clothing. Basically man-made, civilized things, right, with manners and all that. But of course, most of us, at least subconsciously, know that, there's more going on than what the censors allow us to express in civilized society when we're not, if we don't want to be put away in mental institutions. Of course, there's not proper mental institutions anymore. Now we're lucky if we can get a part-time caretaker, right? Okay, just look at how ravishing this is. Look at how savage. Okay, so first of all, my hair is nuts, so I love seeing other people have wild hair. So when I see this guy, I go, boy, I know I get mad, but, hey, I guess, other people probably do too, just like animals in real life. And so, look at, it's okay to have muscles. It's okay to, have a body under the clothing. All right, here's 3 vertical frames. His teeth are very white for being so savage, and pretty perfect looking despite being sharp. But he's been reworked. Now, keep in mind, Wolverine has been medically enhanced. He has natural regenerative mutant powers, but that he was born with, but he also was technologically enhanced through surgery to give him an adamantine skeleton. Look at the curls here on Wendigo. Oh my God, look at that hair. I mean, the hair. All right. This is why I sympathize with hairstylists and women that love to play with their hair. Because, hair is just beautiful artwork. Okay, it's part of how we magically manipulate our bodies. We can do things with our hair, or let it live its own life, which Wolverine, did Wolverine cut his own hair? Or, is that his natural mutant hair? I don't know, but I love it. Also, Wolverine is short, so I like, when heroes can, like Beowulf, have some, they're not flaws, okay? They're not perfect. Wow, look at this. All right. Just look at simple way to do some figure outlines there. Look, they're like, we don't need to color everybody, more than one color. Let's just do one color per person, and maybe a whole group of people as one color. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to wrap this up. I don't know how long I've been talking, but look at that. I was going to comment on, sometimes it looks like a colored lighting is hitting them. So that here it looks like blue lighting, and we've seen that before with this cover. There is a blue light on Spider-Man, apparently coming from the sky, but here it could be, yeah, he's on a building, so it's not water. His costume is, they're using that lighting not just on the blue parts, but also on the red. And you'll also notice a light-colored, what is it, an orange, I'm going to call it, as the sunlight. And I think McFarlane did an excellent job in showing how light can change the colors of things. Light can make red look like orange. It can, and this gets into, how light affects pigments, how light affects, the color that we're seeing is what's being reflected from the surface. So in actuality, what is the color red that we see as the color red, and of course, this gets into, are we all seeing the same color, that we call red? But anyway, when we say that we're seeing a color, actually, the object itself is absorbing most of the other colors and only reflecting the color that we see. So therefore, the object that we call red actually has all the other colors except red. So that's another one of those weird paradoxes of color theory. All right, I'm going to end with this one probably because it's so beautiful. And here's Wolverine in his old school outfit, smoking. So yeah, Glenn Danzig and I like Wolverine because it shows that a short guy can actually hold his own when fighting taller males, basically. All right, here is another beautiful one. So again, hats off to McFarlane. Sorry I don't know a lot of the older artists, but as I continue to study my comic books as an adult, I will learn more and even be able to imitate and replicate and adapt into my own style many of the aspects that I love about comic books. So remember, kids, stay in school unless you have something better to do, and don't do drugs unless you need medicine. Okay. So, one more. This is your brain on comic books. Wolverine and Spider-Man. So, Spider-Man's sarcasm with the grit of Wolverine. Thanks for listening and watching, and I hope that you enjoyed it at least half as much as I did.